We are back again. We are happy to welcome you once again to our Nathan Arrows Family and Social Justice. And last week we started talking about the order of matrimony, and this week we are moving forward. We are going to be speaking today on the God's wisdom in restoring the order that was initiated from the beginning and man's effort towards restoring the order. So please sit back and let's have a good time with the word.
Thank you. Back to this digital platform. The matter before us is the issue of God's wisdom and the human effort to restore the order of matrimony. We noted earlier that the order of matrimony was disorganized. The enemy destroyed the order of matrimony. The enemy came and deceived the first parents, and they scattered the order God arranged from the beginning. And God did not keep quiet. God is reaching out to men. God has a plan. God has a wisdom ready from the foundation of earth to deliver man from this situation. And we know that the implication of man failure, man not upholding the order of God, man upturning the order of God, there was an implication, there was a consequence. And man that used to be the image that was created in the image and likeness of God, now man died. The human nature, the Adamic nature started to take over to direct man. So this human nature we possess. It can do something good, it can do something bad, it can invent something good. But for God, it cannot please God. The human nature cannot please God. They which are led by human nature cannot please God. So God has a plan to deliver man. God has a plan to redeem man. And the first attempt of God to redeem man was to chase man out of the Garden of Eden. Because if man remained in the Garden of Eden and has eaten that tree of life, man would have been perpetually alive with that human nature. Man would have perpetuated the human nature. But God in his wisdom, the first attempt was to chase man out from the Garden of Eden so that man will refrain from eating from the tree of life. And that tree of life would have made man to be eternally alive, and they would have carried that human nature. A life that does not please God, a life that is enmity with God. So that was the first attempt of God to deliver man. So the second attempt of God to deliver man was to kill an animal. God killed animal because God cannot tolerate with man iniquity. For God to maintain his principle, he has to shed a blood, because there is no remission of sin without shedding of blood. And also the reason why God has to kill animal was to silence the accuser of brethren, because we know that the enemy will bring a record, is the one accusing mankind. So God killed bring the blood to silence the accuser of brethren. So that was the second attempt of God to redeem man, so that God will perfect the sanctification process. So the blood was an interface for God to perfect the sanctification process. So God were reaching out to men, even the wiping of mankind with flood during the time of Noah. Yes, it was not judgmental. That was a redemptional attempt of God to redeem men. God was holding on till the salvation was perfected. So men, in the other hand, has been inventing all kind of theory, all sort of efforts to deliver himself, but man cannot deliver himself. It's only the maker, it's only God that can deliver us from this situation man has fallen from. So the effort of man, we see all the theory, we see the effort, we saw the effort of man from the cultural background, from scientific background, from philosophical background. We have the theory, we have idealism from Plato was the founder of that. We also have realism from Aristotle. We have scholastic realism, somebody like Saint Thomas of Aquinas. Scholastic realism, we are trying to blend the Aristotle and Plato philosophy with the Christian philosophy to save man. So we saw scientific, modern science, we saw all the effort, we saw naturalism, empiricism, rationalism. All those things are theory man is propounding to deliver man, to help to maintain social justice and order on the earth, to maintain the order that has been disorganized. So man has put all the effort, and God already have eternal wisdom to deliver man, and the wisdom of God is fully look foolishness to man. Yes, a man look at it as foolishness, you understand, but that is the power of God unto salvation. You know, cross was a secret wisdom of God. And you see, the Gentile, the Greek, they seek for wisdom, they propounded theory, philosophy, and the Jews, they were looking for sign and wonder. And you see, that is what is, you see all around, many people looking for miracle, many people looking for signs and wonder to deliver them. No, those things cannot. That in short, even Jesus come, but he did miracle, but miracle was not the object. It was not the real thing that Jesus come to do. Even after miracle, Jesus still has to go to the cross, because the cross was the wisdom of God to save man. So the miracle, the signs, the wonder was not the means to deliver man. Philosophy, scientific method, all those things is not the perfect plan to save man. Cross was the wisdom of God. Even the blood was a cover. It was the blood was to sustain and suspend God's judgment. So the blood was an interface for God to deal with the man, to perfect sanctification process. So that was the idea of man. That was the wisdom of God to deliver man. The cross is the power of God to save. And the cross and that wisdom of God, it looked foolishness, because when Jesus come, and you know, in the Old Testament, we saw the people of Israelite in the wilderness when they were beaten by the snakes. They cried to Moses and said, Moses, pray to your God to deliver us from this serpent. But you know that for the human wisdom, for the human mind, it was for Moses to talk to God so that he would take away the serpent. But God did not take away the serpent. God did not take away the problem. Rather, God has to make another bruise. He commanded Moses to make another bruising serpent and lift it up. And do you know that when some of the people still died of snake bites, because that wisdom looked foolish to them, how can? Because the instruction was to look, and it looked ordinary. The wisdom of God, it looked foolish to ordinary man. He said, look to that the serpent, the bruising serpent. Many people were, the solution were there, but a lot of people were looking for taking away the problem, taking away the serpent. No, God did not take away. The wisdom of God was not to take away the problem, but He provided a solution. And the solution was to look to the bruising serpent. And many people were still perishing. But anybody, as many that were beaten by snake, and they look up to that bruising serpent, they were made whole. They were made healed. It's a look of faith. It's not just looking, but a look. And that look is a look of faith, and you will see Jesus. If you don't see Jesus, even as you look, it's not just ordinary look, it's a look of faith.